Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Thought we'd do something kind of fun, casual today. I've gone through and picked out all of my fall makeup. I know that I am jumping the gun a little bit. Fall's not technically for a couple of weeks, but my bin on my desk has been empty all summer. I try to do these every season. I forgot to do my summer version. I'm just a little disorganized sometimes, so we are doing it today. I've gone through all my makeup after my declutter last month and picked out what I am eager to use this fall. It was kind of like going shopping again, pulling out all my old makeup. These are some of my current favorites, favorite colors for the fall when it comes to eyeshadow palettes and blushes. Got some really good stuff in here, old and new. So that is what we are going to be doing today. Before we get into it though, I want to give a special welcome to any of you that are new. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel before you leave and hit that notification bell. And with that, let's get right to it. Okay, so up here I have my foundations, my primers, a couple of setting sprays, and then my lip products. Not any lip liners, just my glosses and lipsticks. All of my lip liners just sit next to my desk. This is all of the lip liners that I use regularly. I've got my About Face, my MACs in here, Charlotte Tilbury, LA Girl, Essence, some Milani, just all of the basics are in here. So let's just go through everything. I've got my two setting sprays here. I've got the Pretty Fresh and the All-Nighter from Urban Decay. This is the Ultra Glow version. I actually haven't been in much of a setting spray mood lately, but I think as my skin gets drier in the winter time, I will appreciate setting spray a little bit more. I pulled in just a couple of primers. I have my Tarte Glotion Primer. I love this stuff. And then I also pulled in my Say Glowy Super Gel. And then I think everything else here is a foundation. There are a lot of them that I am working through right now. First off, my Mise en Snelle Repair BB Cream. This is a brand new tube. I just used up my last tube. I've got my two shades of e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation. These are in Cashew and Light Ivory. I find these two mixed together make the perfect shade for me right now. I've got this one from Holika Holika. This is a K-Beauty brand. I got this at Yes Style. This bottle is beautiful. Unfortunately, the pump shattered. Like, not the pump itself, but like this little thing around the pump. I should probably try and just like at least tape it back together. The pump still works. The foundation is really nice. It's more of a skin-like finish. It's a long-lasting foundation. It's called the Hardcover Glow Foundation. I actually don't think it has much of a glow, but I do really like it. It's very light for me, but I like it combined with some of my darker foundations as a mix-in when my skin starts to get a little bit lighter. I also have my Dior Backstage, which I really like, although I don't love this shade. This is 2N. I think I need the shade that has more yellow in it. This one's a little bit too pink for me, but I like the foundation itself. This one right here, this is kind of an old one that I need to get some use out of before it expires. It's the Natasha Denona Face Glow Foundation. I really like this foundation. I don't even know if she makes it anymore. I have the shade 20 Light Yellow. It's a great shade match for me. I really like the finish. It has good medium coverage. And then this right here is my serum foundation from L'Oreal. I have the shade Natural Buff, which is a pretty good shade match for me. I think it's a little bit peach, but I can get away with it. And here are the lip products that I've picked. Mostly lip glosses in here. I do have a couple of lipsticks that I am gonna try and use up. First off, this one, I think I talked about this in my recent favorites video. This is Cream Cup from MAC, which is a really pretty soft pink. I love this color with a nude lip liner, especially if I'm wearing cooler tones on my eyes. Then I pulled out this lipstick. This is Worry Less from Almay. I have not used this color for a while. I think it's probably been maybe 2 years since I've used this one. It's a nice cool tone shade. I don't know how much I'm gonna like this on me, to be honest. I feel like it looks a little more cool tone now that I'm looking at it, but we'll see. I'm gonna try and use it, and then if I end up needing to declutter it, maybe I can do that at the end of the season. Then this one right here is a more peachy tone. This is Charlotte Tilbury JK Magic. Such a great lipstick. I love this one. The packaging is glorious. Love the Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks. I also pulled in one of my Marshmallow Cloud pouts. This one is in the shade Cotton Candy. Just a nice, basic, slightly cooler tone pink. Then this is kind of like a hybrid lipstick gloss. This is from Sydney Grace. This is the shade Bailey. One of my favorites to put on the center of my lips. These are very, very opaque, very sticky, but I love how much color these give my lips. And this one, especially with a darker lip liner underneath, is absolutely beautiful. Let me give it a little swatch for you guys. So there's just one little swatch right there. So pretty. I've got my Persona lip gloss right here. I can't remember the name of this one. The little sticker wore off the bottom. I think it's like Actually, I don't even know. Is it nude? I'll insert the name of it right here. I'll look it up as I'm editing. Got my CoverGirl Coconut Yummy Gloss. These are really nice. I love the scent of this one. I've got my Kapari Lip Balm. This stuff is so nice. It's called the Lip Glossy and Clear. It smells kind of like coconuts. It's really nice and comfortable on the lips. If you like something real basic that's not sticky at all, I do recommend these. I think they're great. Then I've got my Lawless Forget the Filler lip gloss. This has been in my purse constantly. I actually had to pull it down here again today. Probably will end up back in my purse as well. This one is from Westman Atelier. I got this during the holiday sale last year and I have not used it very much. I need to try and use this a little bit more. It's a really pretty nude color. It's kind of like a coolish muted nude tone. You can see that compared to that one right there. Not quite as opaque. This is more of a lipstick gloss. This is a little bit more on the sheer side, but it does give a good amount of color. It's very pretty. I don't know why I never use it. Probably because it's one of those things I feel like I have to save for special occasions because it's such a high-end brand. And then I have the NYX Butter Gloss. This is in the shade Peaches and Cream, a really pretty kind of bright poppy nude pink. I also want to pull back out, I don't have it out here yet, but I want to pull back out Creme Brulee and then compare that to this, which this should be right here. I just pulled this out of my purse this morning. This is Milky Gloss that I tried out in a recent video in the shade Salted Caramel. I like this. I don't know that I like it more than the Butter Gloss. I don't know that it's like much more opaque or anything. I actually think the formulas are kind of similar. That's the color of it right there. It's a pretty color, but it does kind of remind me of Creme Brulee, and that one is much cheaper and you get a lot more product in this packaging than this one. All right, let's move down to mascaras. This is what I've picked out so far. I've got my Maybelline Sky High. I actually need to repurchase this. It's almost all the way out. This is one of the few mascaras that I actually use up completely. Love this stuff. It's so good, so water resistant. And by the way, this is the normal version, not the waterproof version, and it's still very water resistant. I've got this mini of the Lancome Lash Idole. I think I'm gonna get a full size of this with my coupon that I got in the Sephora gift set last Christmas. I really like it. Kind of reminds me of the Tower 28. Speaking of which, always have my Tower 28 mascara in here. I'm just about out of this one, just about ready to repurchase another tube, which I definitely will. This is my very favorite mascara. Got my Milani Highly Rated in here, trying to get that used up. My Pat McGrath Fetishized mascara, another one I need to get working on. Love this mascara, although it's not water resistant at all. If your eyes water at all, this will melt. Like your mascara will start to run on you. I'm still playing around with the Pacifica Activist Volume Mascara. I like it. The brush is kind of weird. Like it's a weird shape, but I like what this does for my lashes. It seems to be pretty water resistant to minor watery eyes, and it seems to remove pretty easily, and the packaging is really beautiful. And then last but not least, I've got my Dream Warrior mascara. I'm loving this mascara. It's a great drugstore one. Gives really good volume and length and good lift to your lashes as well. Over here, I have all my concealers that I've picked out. My Forever Skin Dior concealer, one of my favorites. Absolutely love that. I've actually been mixing these two together, the Flower Beauty. This one's quite a bit too dark for me. This is light medium. Makes a really nice finish that has super high coverage. This is probably one of the highest coverage concealers that I own, maybe next to the Bye Bye Under Eye. So I've got this one, both my Flower Beauty concealers, which I really like. It's a newer one to me. Pulled in both of my Bye Bye Under Eyes. This one is on sale, I believe, this coming week. Great concealer, very high coverage, a little hard to use, but if you need intense coverage, this stuff will cover anything. Then I pulled in my Kosas concealer. This is in the shade 04. I also have shade 3.2, which is almost the same shade, but a little bit more of a olivey undertone. This is more of a neutral. That one I use more. It's just about gone, so I thought I'd try and get some use out of this shade. And last, I have my K-Beauty iMoney concealer. I don't know if I said that right. This one is in the shade 2. I can't remember what the shade is called. I got on Yes Style. I love this concealer. It has the perfect undertone for the perimeter of my face, and I really like the finish. I highly recommend Yes Style and K-Beauty brands. If you're not afraid of trying out K-Beauty makeup, I know it can be a little bit intimidating, but I found some great makeup products there, particularly blushes, concealers, and brow products for fantastic prices. I want to say this was only like $6, and it's great. All right, next drawer, I have my brow products and a couple of single shadows. First off, my two brow glues that I wanted to do a dupe video soon, and these two I'm considering featuring in that video because they're so similar to each other. This is the NYX NYX the brow glue and the Refi brow gel. This one is darker. I have medium brown in this one and taupe in the NYX, but I like them both and I think the formulas are very similar. I've also got this, my Sydney Grace Mad For You brow palette. This is the soft brown version. You guys, I have used the heck out of this thing already. I can't stop using it. I'm a convert to brow powders, which I never thought that I would be. This thing is working so well for me. Love how my brows look with this in either a clear brow gel or a brow wax. That reminds me, this should be in there. This is my Essence Brow Styling Soap Set, which I've been using a ton lately. Honestly, 5 out of 7 days, this is what I'm using my brows. This palette and then this brow soap. Got my e.l.f. Shape and Stay in here. You guys know how much I love that. Always in my drawer. I've got this Physicians Formula Butter Brow Gel. This is a pretty hardcore brow gel. Like if you want something that's gonna lock your brows in place intensely. I mean, it's a little bit crunchy, but your brows will not budge with this stuff. Once it dries, it is budge proof. Then just 2 brow pencils, my Ulta Beauty Ash Taupe, and then my Benefit Precisely My Brow in number 3. And I've just got a handful of single eyeshadows. This one right here is from Sydney Grace. This is the shade Starstruck. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes in the intro to this video. The sparkly inner lid shade is this one. Has quite a bit of glitter in it, but it will not budge. That glitter will not fall out on your face I've actually fallen asleep in this stuff before, and even still, my eyeshadow stayed in place and I had no glitter on my face the next morning. It is completely budge proof once it dries down, and I love this shade Starstruck. It's beautiful. Pulled in this is the Prismetal eyeshadow from JCat, I believe. This is Chrome Galaxy. It's kind of a golden bronze. I haven't used this forever. Thought I would give that some use. I pulled in my Ladybird. Love this. I actually haven't used this for a while either, and it's one of my favorite eye products. I think it's one of the most beautiful budget-friendly lid shimmers. I've probably tried 10 of these single shadows from ColourPop, and this is by far and away the best shade in my opinion. And then I pulled in one of my Kaja trios. This is the Orange Blossom one. There's some beautiful shimmers in this one. I love this kind of golden peach. These are so pretty, you guys. The ones that have like a shimmer in them, especially a shimmer in the top shade. There's a lot of these. I've done a video on them before. I like them all, but the ones that have a shimmer in the top, they are so pretty. The Kaja shimmers are beautiful. They kind of remind me of Natasha Denona in that they have like a multi-colored and dimensional but super refined sparkle to them. Beautiful orange, and then this really pretty kind of like taupey brown. Love these. So here are all the blushes I've selected. This is always the hardest drawer for me to fill up. I love blushes so much. So I pulled in my Physicians Formula Natural Glow. This is a beautiful kind of hybrid blush bronzer highlight shade. It's so pretty on the cheeks. I mean, the swatch will not do it justice. It looks like nothing at all in a swatch, but you put this on your cheeks and it just gives them this like, kind of like rosy, see, it looks so unimpressive. You have to try this on your cheeks. It shows up much more colorful on my cheeks than it does in a swatch. Got my Revolution blush duo that I just picked up. This is in the shade Kindness. This blush color is so perfect for fall, as is this color from Nabla. This is the shade Independence. It's this beautiful kind of like mauve-y, cool toned. It has a very slight shimmer to it. It's so, so pretty. Oh, I love it. Actually, let me swatch it for you guys. Why don't we swatch a few of these? Why not? So here's the Nabla swatch. It's like a rosy terracotta, which you'll see a theme. I have a lot of shades like this. Just what I'm in the mood for in the fall. And then this is the Revolution shade. Let's swatch that one as well. Okay, they almost look identical to each other. This one has a little bit more orange in it. It's a little more peachy. This one's a little bit more pinky, kind of rosy. I pulled this in. This is actually new from Persona. They just sent this to me. I will try this out in a video very soon for you guys. This is a new shade in their blush sticks, the Dream Stick blushes. This is the shade Guava. Beautiful, beautiful, kind of similar to what these other shades, kind of like a terracotta, sort of cream. Oh, look at that shade, guys. So pretty. And it kind of reminds me of this one right here, Sunkissed from Nude Sticks. A little bit different, I think. Yeah. Sunkissed, you can see, is a little bit more kind of brown. Let me take my watch off. Another beautiful one. By the way, this is a bronzer shade technically, but it really is more of a blush. It has more red than brown in it. I pulled in this too. This is the Undone Water Blusher. These are kind of like a gel stain, very long lasting, The swatch, I don't know if the swatch will do it justice. I mean, if you are looking for something budge proof, this has you covered. This stuff will last forever. You have to be careful when you apply it because it can get a little patchy. I like to apply mine slowly, kind of build it up with a brush. I find that to be the best way. Got my Patrick Ta She's So LA, this is kind of like a hybrid. Looks like a bronzer. It does have some rose to it, especially the cream. Another kind of hybrid product. Let me just give it a little swatch. Ooh, I love these. I still haven't picked up another shade. There it is right there. See that? I know it looks kind of like a bronzer, but it does have a bit of rosiness to it. This right here is from Milk Makeup. This is the shade Quirk. This is the one that I'm wearing on my cheeks today. Running out of room, but we're almost done. Look at that, beautiful. It's kind of like a reddish berry color. Got my Pat McGrath trio right here. I really don't like the highlighter in here, but I absolutely love the blushes here. So beautiful. By the way, I think these are both permanent shades. They are Divine Rose and Desert Orchid. Divine Rose is this one. Desert Orchid is this one right here. I think they're both permanent, and I highly recommend these blushes. They are probably my favorite powder blush in my collection. They are pricey, but if you don't mind spending a little bit more on a blush and you like luxury makeup, these are definitely worth it. Let me just swatch these for you guys since we've swatched everything else. So this is Desert Orchid right there. It's kind of like a nice peach with a very subtle sheen to it. And then Divine Rose right here. Beautiful. And then last but not least, I've got two of my Juicy Paying Water blushers. I have the shade BE01. I can't remember what that one's called. And then PK02, kind of like a raspberry color. I haven't used these for a while. I'm excited to give them some use. Okay, then down here we have all of my bronzers and highlighters that I've picked out. First off, the one I'm wearing today is the Thrive Cosmetics Bronzer in Rhea. Such a good powder bronzer. It's been a while since I pulled this one out, so I'm excited to use it again. Got my NARS Cream Bronzer in here. This is Laguna 2. I think I've talked recently about this bronzer. It's kind of dark, a little bit pigmented, but it blends really easily. Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is the light bronzer. Really love this one. I pulled in my Charlotte Tilbury Cream Bronzer, one of my favorites. I really do love this stuff. I have the shade Fair. I really love this. It's pricey, but you do get a ton of product. I was surprised when I calculated out price per gram that this was not that much more expensive than some of my other high-end bronzers. I also have this right here. This is new from Persona. This is the shade Mojave. I am loving this, you guys. I've used it for the last 4 days in a row. I'm actually not wearing it today. I'm wearing my Thrive one, but I'm loving this so far. I tried out their original shade of bronzer they sent to me, and it made me break out, but I've been trying this out for several days now, and so far I haven't had any breakouts yet. Let me show you guys the shade of this. It reminds me a lot. In fact, I'll try and do a video soon using this and swatch them, but this reminds me a lot of Fenty Butter Biscuit, so I'm excited to see how close the shade is. I haven't actually swatched them, but I'll do that for you guys soon. Really love this though. Great shade, a little bit more neutral in tone than their original one, which was just a little bit too warm for me. I also pulled in my e.l.f. Halo Glow Contour. I really like this. It's a very unique cool tone shade, but it's great for contouring. If you're into contouring, I think you might really like these. I have just a handful of highlighters here. My Opal from Becca. I also have my MAC highlighter in Double Gleam. This is one of my all-time favorites. If you have very fair skin, I would highly recommend this as a highlighter because it's a very, very light gold that's not too yellow or too dark. And then for more subtle days, I've got my Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Powder in Highlight 01. Love this stuff. It's subtle, but it's not too subtle for someone like me that generally prefers something kind of blinding. And then because these didn't fit anywhere else, I've got these on my desk that I've been using lately. The Tarte Glow Bar, a little bit filthy. I really like this. Not really for the highlighting powders. I have been using these as setting powders, although I don't feel like I like them more than something like the Rimmel Stay Matte, but I really love the bronzer in here. It's really beautiful. Looks lighter in the pan than it shows up on the skin. And then I also pulled out my Sigma Glow Kissed palette. I just about decluttered this last time. I don't actually love the Sigma highlighters because they're a little bit glittery. They look pretty on the skin from a distance. I mean, they're not like huge chunky glitter particles, but they are a little bit on the glittery side. But I will just say this, and this happens often with highlighters, I feel like the more I dig into the product itself and take off that top layer, the more creamy the formula gets, the more I like them. Still not my very favorite, but it's growing on me just a little bit. Best for last, these are the eyeshadow palettes that I've picked out. I overpicked as usual, but I wanted to include these. This is the Wet n Wild Lights Off palette. This one I actually don't use quite as much, but I love the smoky tones, and I thought fall is the perfect time to dip into some of these. Then my Natasha Denona Starlit palette. I'm still testing this thing out. I really like it. It's just relatively new to me, so I want to keep playing with this. I really, really do love this one. I'm also still testing out the LA Colors Radiant palette. This isn't the best palette at the drugstore, but for $2 I think it's pretty darn good. The colors are really beautiful. I don't know that they're the most unique or pigmented in the world. They're quite warm, but they do create a really pretty eye look for, again, I think it was like $2.48. Okay, now let's walk through these. So this is the one that I'm wearing on my eyes today. I have that liquid shadow on my inner corner, but this is the Huda Beauty Warm Matte Palette. I don't like it quite as much as the purple one, but I like these warm tones. I do think if you have the Natasha Denona Bronze palette, that color story kind of gives me vibes of this one, minus the shimmers. So you probably wouldn't need this one if you like warm tones and you already have the Natasha Denona one. But I still like it. I think these creams are fun to play with. I like the formulas of them. I love the orange tones for the fall. Also had to pull in this one. I pull this one out every single fall, more for the packaging than for the shadows themselves, which is really stupid. But I just can't say enough good things about this packaging. It's so beautiful. It looks like a marble countertop. It's got this haze. It looks like, literally looks like smoke inside the cover. Her packaging is so great. And I do like the shades inside. I don't love this shimmer right here. I feel like it's a little on the weak side. If that was a different formula, I would sing the praises of this palette to the high heavens because the color story is beautiful. I like most of the shimmers. I just think this one's a little tricky to get some payoff out of. Next, I've got my Anastasia Beverly Hills Rose Metals palette. I can't wait to use this fall. I think I picked this up the beginning of the year, but I don't think I had this one last fall, and this is definitely a fall toned color story. Of course, I had to pull this one in. Pumpkin Spice from Too Faced. This is a really fun color story. Love the smell of the Too Faced palettes. I don't know, do you guys think I should get their new version for this fall? I kind of feel like you have one, you have them all, but they are really fun. I wanted to pull back in this. This makes it into most of my Shop My Stashes. I know it looks very colorful. It is very underrated though. There are some shades in here that just are so exceptional. I've mentioned 1 or 2 times this shade, Magellan's Light. If you are ever ordering from Sydney Grace, get this shade because it's such a pretty, unique shade. It's kind of pink, it's kind of taupey, it's kind of bronze. Let me just swatch it for you guys really quick. I know I'm not here to do swatching or we'll be here all day. I just don't know that I have a shade quite like this. This on the lid is so pretty. I can't rave about it enough. It's one of my favorite shades in the world. I actually want to pick up a single of this just in case I ever run out and they don't have it anymore. There's some other great shades in here as well. This silver, this purple, some of these blues and greens, this bronze. Such a good underrated palette. My favorite of the two I have, this is the On the Horizon Light. Next up, my Natasha Denona Yucca palette. Another one that I am so excited to play with this fall. This is a great palette. I'm so glad that I got this. I was on the fence, but I have loved playing with this, and I think once fall really rolls around and I've got my boots and sweaters out, just makes me excited to play with makeup every day. This is a great color story. I do have a good alternative for this one though that we'll get to in just a sec if you want something more drugstore priced, because I know that is pricey. I pulled in this one too. This is the Pat McGrath Celestial Odyssey palette. This was their holiday release from 2 Christmases ago. Good warm fall tones in here, some really unique colors. The shimmers are great. This champagne right here is so good. I wore this on my eyes a couple of days ago when I went to lunch with my mom, and it was such a stunning eye look. Just look at this champagne. It is so sparkly and beautiful. It has a bit of a pink, like a shell pink tone to it. Look at the sparkle in that, you guys. Holy smokes, so pretty. Let's start at the back over here. Pulled out my Harry Potter palette. If you saw my declutter, I talked a little bit about how much I love, if you like Harry Potter, the packaging of this alone makes it worth getting. I don't love the color story. Like, it's not a color story. I get excited to pull out, not even just the color story, but like some of these mattes I felt like were a little weak. The pigmentation was a little bit weak. Some of the shimmers I think are a little bit weak. I wish I loved the eyeshadows more, because the reason I want to pull this out is just because I'm in this like fall Harry Potter kind of mood. And it's okay, it's not bad, but it's not great, and I really wish that it was great because this would be a holy grail item for me if the shadows were a little bit better, but that's okay. I'll still enjoy using it this fall. This one from Sydney Grace, this is the Heaven on Earth palette. This is a new release from them from their last sale at the end of July. Beautiful greens. They're more green than they look. When I first tried this palette out, I think I tried a couple of these shades right here thinking that they'd be more kind of muted and kind of neutral, but they were surprisingly green. Shimmers are great. Nothing in here is too warm with the exception of this shade right here. Everything else leans a little bit on the cool kind of taupey gray or green side. If you like those kind of tones though, I think you'll really like this one. I think it's a great one for the fall. This is another one that makes it into many Shop My Stashes, the Tiny Marvels palette. This is just one of those palettes that just has so many good options in it. When you're not quite sure what you want to do with your eye look, this is a good one to pull out because there's just so much variety. You can go pink, you can go green, you can go brown, you can go berry toned. You've even got a couple like duochromes in here. Such a fun palette. Couple Juvia's Places. This one right here, the Masquerade Mini. There's so many I could pull out in the fall. Now I actually don't use these shades up here very much, but these browns down at the bottom are some of the most beautiful, rich browns that create the prettiest, warm, cozy, super intense looks. Oh, I absolutely love these. I love the Juvia's Place browns. Thought about pulling out the Coffee Shop palette, but I think I just got done using that. Thought I'd give this one a rotation. And then of course this one right here. This is the one that I mentioned is a good, I mean, obviously this one only has 9 shades, so it's not going to be an exact dupe for the Yucca palette, but the tones are similar. You're gonna get some somewhat similar looks from these two palettes. Obviously you have more variety in here, but if you don't want to spend $69 on a palette and you happen to own this one will definitely give you some similar vibes. You guys know this is one of my favorite all-time palettes. Absolutely love it. So great for the fall, great formulas. This shimmer in the middle is one of the best shimmers ever. In case you're new here, let me swatch it for you because I don't think I've ever pulled out this palette and not swatched this shadow right here, which I probably should stop because it's just about gone. I'm gonna hit pan any day now. It's a nice gold that's not too dark or too light. It's also not too yellow. I'm very picky with golds. If they're too yellow, they don't look good on my skin tone. This is one that I think would look good on any skin tone. Just a couple more. I've got my Lust for Dusk palette right here from ColourPop. I'm still trying to figure out if I like this palette. I've used it just a couple of times and I haven't loved the looks that I've created with it, but I haven't used everything in here yet. So I want to play with it a little bit more. There are a couple shades that I really liked. Some of these like grays and even that purple right here, I just didn't like how they looked on me. Cool tones are tricky for me. If they're too ashy, I generally just don't think they look very good on my skin tone, or maybe I'm just not used to them. I lean towards warm tones for the most part. And then last but not least, I've got my BH Cosmetics Avocado Toast palette. If they still make this, I would recommend picking it up before they discontinue it because BH Cosmetics is somewhat quick to discontinue things. And this is such a fun one. If you like greens, if you like some like berry tones, even neutrals, there's some really good neutrals in here, and the lid shades. You guys, the lid shades in the BH Cosmetics palettes are just so great. This shade up here, this Advocuddle, which is such a cute name, is so beautiful. And the one below it, Lemon Pepper, so pretty. You have a pink with some sparkle and kind of like a golden champagne with some sparkle. Oh, it's a great one. Love the looks from this palette. And I think that's it. And that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys are excited to see me use. Maybe I'll do a get ready with me kind of video using some of these products. So let me know what you guys would like to see me try out on camera. I would be happy to do that for you guys, but that's gonna do it for now. Thank you guys again for stopping by. Hope that you're all doing well. Please consider subscribing before you leave if you haven't done that yet. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye.